Meet Gumbartar. He is 52 years old, living in the heart of Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, in a small apartment with his family of four. Due to the rise in property rates, this two-bedroom is all that he can afford. It is winter, so every morning Gumbartar returns to his fire that has been burning through the night. With the harsh Mongolian winters, it is important that he has a fire going to keep warm all through the day and night. While has wood today, this may be more difficult than it sounds some days due to the lack of trees throughout Mongolia. There are a few days that he has to burn coal, which adds to the harsh pollution conditions. Meditation is a part of Gumbartar's everyday routine. This is typical for most Mongolians who practice Tibetan Buddhism. Breakfast this morning will be that of a typical Mongolian: milk tea, which contains cheese, millets, and lamb jerky. Dressing for work is a process because of the harsh weather conditions he has to prepare himself for, but also the heated conditions once he is inside of work. Mongolian wardrobes like Gumbartar consist of long john underpants, thick woolen coats, hats, and boots. The much harsher living conditions as a nomad years ago prepared him for anything. Although his family now lives in an apartment in Ulaanbaatar, he still owns the land that he once farmed and hopes that the value will go up in the future. Before leaving for work, he is sure to grab his handmade canteen full of fine bourbon to have with him throughout the day. Drinking is a big part of any working man's day in Mongolia, including a crucial part of business meetings and celebrations. Unlike America, Mongolia does not have any such law as an open container, so you can freely walk around anywhere with an open drink. The trip to work for anyone in the city is usually accompanied by the growing homeless population. The urbanization of Mongolia and skyrocketing property rates play a huge role in those numbers. His commute to work is much like ours here in the U.S. in major cities with train and subway transportation. Gumbartar works at the airport where he is in charge of checking passports for people leaving and coming into Mongolia. This may sound like an easy job, but for Gumbartar it is a little more difficult. Since Mongolia does most of their trading with China and Russia and between all of the tourism, he encounters many different language barriers every day at work. This is a little difficult for him since education was not introduced until 1949 in Mongolia, where now other languages are offered for learning. Fortunately, the close-by fast food restaurants give him many options for lunch every day. Like our study on McDonald's, the menus for most of these restaurants have changed to conform to the Mongolian culture. After an 8-hour workday, Gumbartar heads to the nearby market to pick up more lamb for dinner. He chooses this market every day because of their traditional way of cooking the meat. Although a lot of things have changed in Mongolia, most natives are passionate about the traditional Mongolian way of cooking meats in big pots. This particular market also sells the best bourbon, where Gumbartar can refill his man-made canteen. Due to the short sunlight hours in the winter, the sun is setting when he heads for home on the subway. Transportation for other middle-class men like himself could be on the widely used dirt bike throughout Mongolia. There is also an option to use the taxi system around Mongolia. Around these hours, later in the afternoon, tourists flood around the main areas of Ulaanbaatar. Tourism is becoming a very big part of Mongolia, creating lots of jobs and attraction for the city. One major hit of Mongolian tourism is the ability to have the outer Mongolian culture experience by renting tents built in the city for a few nights. He returns home to his wife and 2 children. Gumbartar and his wife met through their families. Although now parents do not play as big of a role in marriage, the acceptance of the spouse by the daughter's family is extremely important both culturally and spiritually. Family dinners take place most nights, other than weekends when Gumbartar enjoys many of the entertainment destinations of the city with friends and coworkers. They often see tourists and foreigners showing kind hospitality. Utensils other than a knife are rarely used at meals in his household, along with other traditional Mongolian families. Often, families have extreme luxury knives for the easy cutting of meat, and of course, more drinking. This family is able to enjoy all of the joys of electricity, internet, and even cable. The country of Mongolia has come a long way, and many middle-class families like this one have prospered. Obviously, enjoying good bourbon and other fine alcohols is an important part of any working class man's day. This is why they would be our target for introducing Yeti canteens into their everyday life. Eventually, expanding other Yeti products could be successful by offering advanced cooler system for their precious meats. There are many other factors of the country to take into account as well. When looking at an economic overview of Mongolia, their current GDP is 11.74 billion with a growth of 2.4%. This has been in a recent downward trend from 2013 to 2015, while the population has been on an upward trend. They have an inflation rate of 5.8% and a Gini index of 32, which puts them closer to an equal distribution of wealth throughout the country. Mongolia's main exports include minerals, stones, jewelry, textiles, animal origin products. However, the price of gold and copper has been dropping in recent years, and this has proven to be harsh on Mongolia's economy. An important factor to remember when introducing a new product into Mongolia is that their economy has not been successful in recent years, and the currency conversion is very low when compared to the US dollar. Mongolia is ranked 22nd by the World Bank in their Ease of Doing Business Index. This factors in construction permits, taxes, and trade across borders, which brings up issues with importing. Logistics are costly since Mongolia is landlocked, and this means our product can only be brought in by air or importing across one of Mongolia's many borders. There is also a 5% tariff on all imported goods, which would apply to our product as well. Laws, application, and regulations are vague and often open to interpretation. Plus, Mongolia is ranked 80 of 177 countries in the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, meaning dealing with corruption of the private sector for outsiders is relatively common, and other issues we must deal with. The untapped mineral wealth makes Mongolia a target for foreign investment. Everything is improving, and the potential for people to make money in a crowded market have increased greatly. Mongolia's overflow of people is also due to outsiders wanting to move into cities where children test scores requirements are significantly lower for college compared to major cities of China. This creates a higher standard for education, which gives Mongolia more hope for a prosperous future. Our product will have a lasting effect on the way Inner Mongolians drink and eat, which are two very traditional and important aspects of their lives.